My parents gave my sister a key to my apartment while I was away. I had her arrested for felony trespassing. Hi everyone. Today's story will blow your mind, but really quick, if you enjoy this content, hit that subscribe button. Channel's been a bit quiet lately, and your support keeps it all going. Let's jump in. Original post. I'm literally shaking with rage as I type this. I need to know if I'm overreacting because my entire family is blowing up my phone calling me a monster, but I genuinely cannot believe what just happened. I'm James, 29M, and I work as a software engineer for a major tech company. 2 years ago, after years of saving and careful financial planning, I finally bought my own apartment in downtown Seattle. It's nothing fancy, just a one-bedroom in a decent building, but it's mine. I worked my ass off for this place, taking extra freelance projects, living on ramen through college, and sacrificing everything to build my career. My family situation has always been complicated. My parents, Robert, 55M, and Patricia, 53F, have always played favorites with my younger sister Emily, 27F. Growing up, Emily could do no wrong. She dropped out of college twice, has never held a job for more than 6 months, and has been finding herself for the better part of a decade. Meanwhile, I was told at 18 that I was on my own for college because men need to learn independence. I've kept my distance from them over the years, maintaining polite but minimal contact. We see each other maybe 3 times a year, holidays and my mother's birthday. They've been to my apartment exactly twice since I bought it, both times for less than an hour. 3 weeks ago, Emily called me crying. She'd been evicted from her apartment, again, for not paying rent. Her roommate had apparently been covering for her for months before finally giving up. She begged me to let her stay with me, just for a few weeks, while she figured things out. I told her no. I've been down this road before. In college, she stayed with me for 2 weeks that turned into 4 months of her treating my dorm like a hotel while I slept in the library. She hung up on me when I offered to help her look for affordable housing instead. My parents called an hour later, absolutely furious. My father called me heartless. My mother cried about how I was abandoning family. I stood firm. I told them Emily was 27 years old and needed to figure out her own life. The conversation ended with my father saying I was no son of his if I couldn't help family in need. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. Yesterday, I came home early from a business trip. I was supposed to be gone until Sunday, but the client meetings wrapped up ahead of schedule and I caught a red-eye Thursday night instead. I was exhausted, looking forward to sleeping in my own bed. When I opened my apartment door at 6 a.m., I immediately knew something was wrong. There were shoes I didn't recognize in the entryway. Women's shoes. Multiple pairs. The living room was a disaster. Clothes everywhere, empty food containers on my coffee table, my gaming setup moved around. My first thought was that I was being robbed. Then I heard voices from my bedroom. My bedroom. I grabbed the baseball bat I keep by the door and slowly made my way down the hall. The bedroom door was closed, but I could hear giggling inside. Young voices. Multiple people. In my bed. I kicked the door open, bat raised, ready to defend myself. What I found was worse than burglars. Emily was in my bed. With 2 of her friends I vaguely recognized from her Instagram. All 3 were in various states of undress, clearly having used my bed for activities I don't even want to think about. The sheets, my expensive sheets that I just bought, were stained with what looked like wine. There were empty bottles on my nightstand. They'd been partying. In my apartment. In my bed. Emily screamed when she saw me. Started yelling about how I was supposed to be gone until Sunday, how I couldn't just barge in like this. The audacity. She was telling me I couldn't barge into my own bedroom. I lost it. I told all 3 of them they had exactly 60 seconds to get their shit and get out before I called the police. Emily laughed. She actually laughed and said, "Mom and Dad gave me a key. I live here now. You can't kick me out without an eviction notice." That's when I realized this wasn't just her breaking in. This was planned. My parents had somehow gotten a copy of my key and given it to her. They'd told her she could move in while I was gone, probably figuring I'd just accept it once it was done. I didn't give them 60 seconds. I called 911 right there. Emily tried to grab my phone, screaming that I was being ridiculous, that I couldn't call the cops on family. Her friends were scrambling to get dressed, looking terrified. Good. They should be terrified. They were trespassing in my home. I told the dispatcher I had intruders in my apartment who were refusing to leave. Emily kept screaming in the background that she lived there, that she had a key. I made it very clear to the dispatcher that she was not a tenant, had no legal right to be there, and that I wanted them arrested for breaking and entering. The cops arrived within 10 minutes. By then, Emily's friends had fled, but Emily was still there, fully dressed now and defiant. She showed the officers the key, said our parents gave her permission to move in. The officers looked at me, and I showed them my ID showing this address, and explained that I was the sole owner, that Emily had never lived here, was not on any lease, and had no permission to be here. Here's where it gets even worse. The officers asked Emily how long she'd been staying there. She said 3 days. She'd been in my apartment for 3 fucking days. Going through my things, sleeping in my bed, eating my food, using my apartment like her personal party pad while I was gone. I insisted on pressing charges. The officers tried to talk me down, saying it was a family matter, but I held firm. She was trespassing. She had no legal right to be in my home. They eventually arrested her for criminal trespass in the first degree, a felony in Washington state because she'd been specifically told not to be there. I had the texts from 3 weeks ago proving I denied her request to stay. As they were leading her away in handcuffs, she was sobbing, begging me not to do this, saying she'd be kicked out of her graduate program. What graduate program? She dropped out of undergrad twice. I felt nothing. Absolutely nothing. My phone started blowing up before the police car even pulled away. My parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone was calling me a monster. My mother left a voicemail sobbing that I was destroying my sister's life over a misunderstanding. My father left one saying I was dead to him. I went inside and surveyed the damage. My bedroom was disgusting. They'd clearly been having sex in my bed. There were stains everywhere, wine, food, and things I don't want to identify. My bathroom was wrecked, makeup everywhere, my expensive skincare products opened and used, my towels stained with what looked like hair dye. The living room was worse than I initially thought. They'd gone through my things. My work laptop was open. They tried to get in but thankfully couldn't get past the password. My PlayStation had been moved to the bedroom. Why? There were cigarette burns on my couch. Cigarette burns. I don't even smoke. It's a non-smoking building. The kitchen was a disaster. Every dish I owned was dirty. They'd cooked elaborate meals and just left everything. The garbage was overflowing. The disposal was clogged. There were empty bottles everywhere. They'd drunk my entire bar, including a bottle of Japanese whiskey that cost me $300 and was a gift from my mentor. I took photos of everything. Then I called a locksmith to come immediately and change all my locks. I didn't care that it was Saturday morning or that it would cost triple for the emergency call. I wanted new locks now. While waiting for the locksmith, I went through my security system. Thank God I have cameras in the common areas, not the bedroom/bathroom for obvious reasons. I watched 3 days of footage. Emily hadn't just been staying there. She'd been moving in. I watched her and her friends carrying in boxes, suitcases, even some furniture. They were planning to take over my apartment completely. The security footage also showed something else. My parents had been there. They'd helped her move in. I have video of my father carrying in boxes while my mother directed where things should go. They did this. They orchestrated this entire thing. The locksmith arrived and changed all my locks, deadbolt, regular lock, even added a chain for good measure. Cost me $400, but worth every penny. I also called building management and had them flag my apartment. No one gets access without my explicit permission, and I'm to be notified immediately if anyone claiming to be family shows up. I then called a cleaning service, not just regular cleaning, but biohazard cleaning. I want everything sanitized. I'm throwing out all my sheets, towels, and honestly probably the mattress too. The couch is definitely gone. The cost is adding up to thousands, but I don't care. I want every trace of them gone from my space. It's been 12 hours since this happened. Emily is still in jail as far as I know. My phone has hundreds of missed calls and texts. I've had to block most of my family. The only one who hasn't contacted me is my brother Michael, 31M, who lives in Texas. He's always been the smart one, moved far away and keeps minimal contact. I know I'm going to get shit for this, but I don't care. I'm also planning to file a civil suit against my parents for the damages and for conspiracy to commit trespassing. I have them on camera entering my apartment without permission and helping Emily move in. I want them to pay for every penny of damage their golden child caused. Am I the asshole for having my sister arrested? My family says I'm overreacting, that it's just property, that family should come first. But this is my home. The one thing I've worked for my entire adult life. The place where I should feel safe. They violated that. They planned to steal it from me. I don't think I'm wrong, but the sheer volume of hate I'm getting is making me second-guess myself. Reddit, am I the monster they're saying I am? Update 1, posted 5 days later. Holy shit, This blew up. Thank you to everyone who validated that I wasn't crazy. I've read every comment, and while I couldn't respond to all of them, your support meant everything during one of the worst weeks of my life. So much has happened since my original post that I barely know where to start. First, Emily. She was released on bail the next day, Saturday. My parents paid the $5,000 bail. She's been charged with criminal trespass in the first degree and, this is new, criminal mischief in the third degree for the property damage. The prosecutor added the second charge after I provided photos and estimates showing over $3,000 in damages. Both charges are felonies. My parents absolutely lost their minds when they found out about the felony charges. They thought this would be like a speeding ticket, pay a fine and move on. My father called me screaming that I was ruining her life over nothing and that she made a mistake. A mistake. They planned this for weeks. Here's where it gets interesting. Remember how I mentioned having security footage? Well, I gave it all to my lawyer. Yes, I've hired a lawyer. Actually, 2 lawyers, but more on that later. The footage shows my parents entering my apartment on Tuesday morning with their own key. They had to have made a copy weeks ago, probably during one of their visits. The footage also shows them helping Emily move in, but here's the kicker. It shows them going through my personal documents. I have a home office area where I keep important papers in a filing cabinet. The camera doesn't show inside the cabinet, but it clearly shows my mother opening it and photographing documents with her phone. These documents included my tax returns, bank statements, and investment account statements. When my lawyer saw this, he immediately told me to check my credit report and freeze my credit. Good thing too, someone, guess who, had already applied for a credit card in my name. The application was submitted Wednesday morning, a day after my parents were photographing my documents. It was declined because I have fraud alerts set up, but the attempt is there. This moved things from family dispute to identity theft and fraud. My lawyer contacted the prosecutor, who is now considering adding additional charges against my parents, not just Emily. The family explosion has been nuclear. My extended family is divided into camps. Team James, surprisingly larger than expected. And my brother Michael, who called me after seeing the family group chat meltdown. His exact words were, "I knew this day would come. They've enabled Emily's bullshit for too long." And my cousin Jennifer, 33F, who reminded everyone in the family group chat that Emily had done something similar to her 5 years ago, stayed for a week that turned into 3 months and left her apartment trashed. And my uncle David, my dad's brother, who apparently has been telling my father for years that Emily needed tough love. Several cousins who have their own stories about Emily taking advantage. Team Emily/parents. And my mother's entire side of the family, who think I'm Satan incarnate. And my father's sister Patricia, who posted on Facebook that I'm a heartless monster who chose money over family. Various family friends who only know my parents' version. The social media drama has been insane. My mother posted this sob story on Facebook about how her cruel son had her baby girl arrested for a miscommunication. The post went viral in our extended network. She conveniently left out the part about copying my keys, the identity theft, and the thousands in damages. I didn't want to engage, but my lawyer actually recommended I post my own version with photos of the damage and a brief factual statement. I did, and the tide started turning. Turns out, Emily has a reputation. Multiple people commented with their own stories about her owing them money, destroying property, or taking advantage of their kindness. One comment stood out, from Ashley, someone I didn't even know. She said Emily had been her roommate 3 years ago and had done almost the exact same thing, moved her friends in without permission, trashed the place, and then claimed she had the right to be there. Ashley had to legally evict her, which took months and cost thousands. But here's the most insane update. Emily's graduate program she claimed she'd be kicked out of? It doesn't exist. She's not enrolled in any graduate program. She's not enrolled in any program. My cousin Catherine did some digging and found out Emily has been lying about being in grad school for 2 years. She's been using it as an excuse for why she can't work, why she needs money, why she needs places to stay. My parents have been giving her money for tuition that doesn't exist. When this came out, my father had what I can only describe as a complete breakdown. He called me sobbing, my father, who I've seen cry exactly twice in my life. He admitted they'd given Emily over $40,000 in the last 2 years for her education. He wanted to know if I knew. I didn't, and honestly, I felt bad for him for about 10 seconds until he said, "But you still didn't have to have her arrested. You could have just let her stay for a few weeks." They still don't get it. I've had to take time off work to deal with this. My manager has been understanding, especially after I explained the situation. Turns out, He had a similar situation with his brother-in-law and completely understands. He's approved me to work from home for the next 2 weeks while I sort this out. The cleaning and replacement costs are adding up. A biohazard cleaning, $1,200. A new mattress and bedding, $2,000. A new couch, $1,500. A replacing various damaged items, $800. A new locks and security upgrades, $400. A legal fees, so far $2,500. Emotional therapy, yes, I started seeing someone $200 per session. My renter's insurance will cover some of it, but not all. They're also going after Emily and my parents for the damages, which I'm told will make their homeowner's insurance rate skyrocket if they're found liable. Speaking of legal action, I've hired 2 lawyers. 1. A criminal lawyer to ensure the charges against Emily stick and to pursue the identity theft angle against my parents. 2. A civil lawyer to sue all 3 of them for damages, emotional distress, and conspiracy to commit fraud. The civil lawyer thinks I have an excellent case, especially with the video evidence and the attempted identity theft. He suggested we also go after them for intentional infliction of emotional distress given the planning and malicious nature of their actions. Emily, meanwhile, has been spiraling on social media. She's been posting increasingly unhinged things about me being abusive, about how I'm jealous of her, about how I've always hated her. Each post contradicts the last. First, she was just staying there for a few days with permission. Then she was living there because she had tenant rights. Then I had verbally told her she could move in and was now lying. Her story keeps changing, and people are noticing. She also made a crucial mistake. She posted photos from inside my apartment on her Instagram stories before I came home, bragging about her new place and finally living the downtown life. These photos clearly show the damage being done, wine stains on the carpet, her friends jumping on my bed, cigarette burns being made on the couch. My lawyer was thrilled when I showed him the screenshots I'd grabbed. My brother Michael flew in yesterday. He said he wanted to be here to support me but also to talk some sense into our parents. That conversation didn't go well. He met with them and came back looking exhausted. According to him, they're completely in denial. They insist they did nothing wrong, that I'm overreacting, and that Emily is the real victim here. They also apparently admitted to him that they'd planned this for over a month. They'd been telling Emily she could have my apartment once I was convinced to share, or once they could make him see reason. They genuinely thought I'd come home, see Emily settled in, and just accept it? The delusion is real. The prosecutor called today. They're definitely pursuing the felony charges against Emily. She's looking at potential jail time, though more likely probation and restitution if she pleads guilty. However, if she fights it, and knowing Emily she will, she could face up to a year in jail for each charge. As for my parents, the identity theft investigation is ongoing. The prosecutor said that even if they don't face criminal charges for that, their conspiracy to commit trespass is clear on video, and they could face charges for that. I'm exhausted, Reddit. I'm angry, hurt, and just so fucking tired. I've had to change my phone number because of the harassment. I've had to make my social media private. I've had to take security measures I never thought I'd need against my own family. But I'm not backing down. They crossed a line. They didn't just violate my space. They tried to steal my identity, my home, my peace of mind. They did this deliberately, with planning and malice. I'll update again after the court dates. Emily's preliminary hearing is next week. My civil suit will be filed tomorrow. To those asking if I regret calling the police, not for 1 second. If anything, I regret not doing it sooner, not pressing charges the first time Emily took advantage of me, not setting harder boundaries years ago. This ends here. This ends now. Update 2, posted 3 months later. It's been 3 months since I found my sister and her friends in my apartment, and I thought I owed you all a final update. The support for my original posts was overwhelming, and honestly, some of your comments and messages kept me sane through this nightmare. Where do I even begin? The criminal cases. Emily's case went about as well as you'd expect for someone who documented their own crimes on social media. Her lawyer tried to get the charges reduced to misdemeanors, but the prosecutor held firm. The evidence was overwhelming. A security footage of her entering and residing in my apartment without permission. Her own Instagram posts showing her damaging my property. Text messages between her and our parents planning the whole thing. Yes, the prosecutor subpoenaed their phones. The 3-week-old text where I explicitly told her she could not stay with me. She initially pleaded not guilty, against her lawyer's advice. She was convinced that no jury would convict her because family doesn't do this to family. Her lawyer desperately tried to get her to take a plea deal, plead guilty to misdemeanor trespass and criminal mischief with probation and restitution. She refused. It went to trial last month. It lasted exactly 2 days. The jury deliberated for less than 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. Emily was sentenced to 18 months probation, 200 hours of community service, $8,000 in restitution to me, a permanent criminal record with 2 felony convictions. The judge absolutely tore into her during sentencing. He called her entitled, showing zero remorse, and demonstrating a complete lack of respect for others' property and boundaries. He said the only reason she wasn't facing jail time was that this was her first felony conviction. She has multiple misdemeanors I didn't even know about. The identity theft case against my parents is more complex. The evidence is clear. They photographed my documents and someone used that information to attempt to open credit cards. But proving they were the ones who attempted the fraud is harder. The investigation is ongoing, but the prosecutor warned me they might not face criminal charges for this. However, they are facing charges for conspiracy to commit trespass. The video evidence is undeniable. They used an illegally made copy of my key to enter my apartment and facilitate Emily's trespass. They're looking at misdemeanor charges, likely resulting in fines and probation if convicted. Their trial is next month. The civil cases. This is where things get interesting. My civil lawyer is a bulldog. We sued Emily and my parents for actual damages, the cost to repair/replace everything, emotional distress, a conspiracy to commit fraud, trespass, a conversion, illegally taking my property. My parents tried to argue they couldn't be held liable for Emily's actions since she's an adult. The judge disagreed. The video evidence showed them actively participating in the trespass. They were essentially co-conspirators. Last week, we reached a settlement. And my parents will pay me $35,000. Emily will pay me an additional $15,000, on top of the criminal restitution. They had to sign an agreement never to contact me again or come within 500 feet of my property. They cannot discuss me publicly or on social media. This was important because my mother had continued her Facebook smear campaign. Their homeowner's insurance refused to cover it because it was intentional acts, so they had to liquidate savings. My father had to cash out part of his 401k. Emily, who has no assets, will be on a payment plan for the next decade. The family fallout. The family drama has been intense. When Emily was convicted, my mother posted a long rambling Facebook post about how the justice system failed her baby, and how I was a sociopath who chose money over blood. This violated the settlement agreement we'd just signed, so my lawyer sent a cease and desist. She had to pay an additional $5,000 fine and delete all posts about me. The extended family is now completely divided. After Emily's conviction, more people came forward with their own stories about her. It turns out she's been pulling versions of this scam for years, moving in with family and friends, refusing to leave, destroying property. She owes money to at least a dozen family members. My cousin Jennifer started a group chat for Emily's victims, and there are 15 people in it. My brother Michael has been my rock through this. He's gone completely no contact with our parents and Emily. He told me something interesting. Apparently, our parents had approached him first about moving Emily in with him in Texas, but he shut it down immediately. When that didn't work, they targeted me, thinking I was softer. The family reunion this summer was cancelled because, in the organizers' words, tensions are too high. My Aunt Patricia, Dad's sister, tried to organize a competing reunion for family who still believe in forgiveness, but only 6 people are SVP'd. Here's the plot twist nobody saw coming. My parents are getting divorced. Yeah, you read that right. Apparently, the stress of the criminal charges, the civil lawsuit, and the family revelation about Emily's lies broke something in their marriage. My father blames my mother for enabling Emily. My mother blames my father for not defending Emily hard enough. They're currently fighting over who gets stuck with Emily living with them since she got evicted, again, and no one else will take her in. Personal aftermath. I'm in therapy, and it's helping. I'm dealing with a lot of guilt, unnecessary, according to my therapist, and anger, completely justified, according to my therapist. The violation of my personal space really fucked with my head more than I expected. For weeks, I couldn't sleep in my own bedroom. I ended up staying in a hotel for a month while I had the entire apartment deep cleaned and redecorated. I've installed a comprehensive security system, cameras everywhere, except bathroom/bedroom, smart locks that alert my phone whenever anyone enters, and a video doorbell. I might be paranoid, but I'd rather be paranoid than go through this again. Work has been incredibly supportive. My manager approved an extended work-from-home arrangement while I dealt with the legal stuff. My colleagues even took up a collection to help with my legal fees, which made me cry in the middle of a Zoom call. I've also started dating someone, Sarah, 28F. We met at, of all places, the courthouse while I was filing paperwork. She's a paralegal and was immediately fascinated by my case. She's been incredibly supportive and understanding about my trust issues. She also has her own toxic family stories, so she gets it. Current status. Emily is living with our mother in their soon-to-be-sold family home. She can't get a job because of her felony record, and she can't rent an apartment for the same reason. The last I heard through the grapevine, she was trying to become an influencer and starting a YouTube channel about surviving family betrayal. It has 47 subscribers. My father has moved into a small apartment and is apparently in therapy himself. My cousin told me he looks like he's aged a decade in 3 months. Part of me feels bad for him, but then I remember him carrying boxes into my apartment to help someone steal it from me, and the sympathy evaporates. My mother is the only one still in complete denial. She's telling anyone who will listen that I'm mentally ill, that I've been brainwashed, that this is all a misunderstanding. The restraining order means she can't contact me, but she's been trying to get messages to me through other family members. They all go straight to my lawyer. As for me, I'm doing better. I'm in my apartment, and I feel safe again. The locks are changed, the security is tight, and I'm slowly rebuilding my life. I'm closer to my brother than ever. I have a small but solid circle of friends and family who supported me through this. The money from the settlement has gone toward paying off my legal fees, replacing everything they destroyed. Therapy. A nice vacation to Hawaii. Fuck it, I earned it. The rest is going into savings for a house down payment, somewhere with even better security. Lessons learned. 1. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Emily showed me years ago that she had no respect for boundaries. I should have acted then. 2. Don't let family be an excuse for abuse. DNA doesn't give anyone the right to violate your boundaries, steal from you, or destroy your property. 3. Document everything. The security footage and Emily's own social media posts are what made this case slam dunk. 4. Get a good lawyer. Mine was worth every penny. 5. It's okay to choose yourself. I lost some family over this, but the family I lost wasn't worth keeping. To answer the question I've gotten most, do I regret it? No. Not even a little bit. My only regret is not standing up to them sooner. I let years of family-first guilt prevent me from setting proper boundaries. That ends now. They fucked around. They found out. Thank you, Reddit, for your support through this insane journey. I'm closing this chapter of my life and moving forward. Without them. Final edit. For those asking, yes, this is real. I have all the documentation to prove it. And no, I will not be reconciling with them. Ever. Yes, Emily still owes me money. No, I don't expect to ever see it all. My apartment is now a fortress, and I sleep soundly. I'm continuing therapy and highly recommend it to anyone dealing with toxic family. To anyone dealing with similar situations, you're not crazy. You're not overreacting. You have the right to boundaries, safety, and respect, even, especially, from family. Stay strong, Reddit. And remember, when people try to steal your home, you call the cops. Family or not.